Hello, welcome back to another VGC video on Pokemon Champions. I've got an interesting team. Not exactly sure if I'm the happiest with it, but I mean, I got quite a few wins with it, so I can't complain too much. I have a Dragapult, kind of going out of order here, but Dragapult I think is one of the more important Pokemon because it's the one that does just a lot of burst damage outright, especially with Outrage. U-turn to swap out, Choice Scarf to make sure I outspeed literally everything in the game. Psychic Fangs to delete any Sneasler that dares to show its face in front of me, and Phantom Force because it, can protect me for a turn and hits through Protect, and it's also Stab. Outrage is just good because there's a lot of Dragon types in the format, so it's just good burst damage no matter what it hits, unless it resists. And even still, it still does like 30 to 40%, so it's a good move. The major downside with it is you can't really select your target, but you can still hurt whatever it's going to hit regardless. Next up on the team is a Sneasler. Like I said, I'm kind of going out of order here. Sneasler with a White Herb to help proc and burden against the Intimidates that are out there. Hello, Incineroar. Throat Chop instead of Fake Out because I get a lot more use out of Throat Chop than I do with Fake Out. As you can see, I don't have Fake Out or Intimidate. Speaking of Incineroar, I don't have that on my team. But I do have Dire Claw in close combat for good stab damage. It's also an Adamant Sneasler instead of Jolly, so I can be outsped, but it does hurt quite a bit. Toxapex is also on the team. Mostly there for disruption. Dropping some stats, dropping some speed, dropping some special defense, lowering accuracy, poisoning. It's there for disruption, and it's very good at doing so. Leftovers is very nice to make sure I can stay alive as long as possible. Mixed with Regenerator, and I like to swap fairly frequently. It's actually a pretty decent Pokemon. It just doesn't really fit on the team. it can go onto any team, but it's never a good replacement for anything, if that makes sense. I feel like I can put anything instead of Toxapex and it would be just as good. I just happen to like using Toxapex. I like having tanky Pokemon that can poison if you want to attack it, and I like dropping accuracy, I like dropping speed, and Acid Spray is just nice. But if I do end up swapping, it's probably going to end up being Toxapex, and it's probably going to be for like Incineroar or something like that. A little bit more meta than Toxapex. Sorry, Docs. Meowstick with Prankster and Focus Sash gets to set up the Psychic Terrain to boost psychic damage and block all priority moves. There's quite a few of those. There's Sunny Day to set up the sun and boost my fire damage as much as possible, and to lower any water damage that's coming my way. Try to protect Delphox as much as possible. And Thunder Wave for speed control. It's just important to remember that you don't accidentally Fat Finger hit Thunder Wave after you've already set up Psychic Terrain because it won't do anything because you block your own move. A little bit of foreshadowing. Meganium is back on the team. It's actually a different Meganium than the one I usually use. I had actually named mine Daffodil. This is the one that you get for, I think this is for the warm-up challenge. Does some pretty decent damage. Earth Power is nice to have against any fire types that might threaten you. Weather Ball is always fire type damage if I make it evolve, regardless of the weather. And Solar Beam is also very good because it doesn't get halved by other weather, and you can also use it in one move. I don't really bring Meganium too much because this is mostly, as you can see by the name of the team, What the Fox. It's a Delphox team. So Delphox is my primary Mega. It's just nice to have a secondary in case you really don't feel like a Mega Evolution for Delphox is going to be working all in your favor. And speaking of Delphox, I have a Delphox. Psychic, Scorching Sands, and Heat Wave. I've actually experimented a little bit with the various moves. I'm actually running Psychic Terrain because originally I had been Mega Evolving Meganium and was using Expanding Force on Delphox. But then I slowly stopped bringing Meganium to every single game. And once you Mega Evolve Delphox, you get the ability to Levitate, which means that you're no longer on the Psychic Terrain, which means that you can then be attacked by Sucker Punches. You can also no longer use Psychic Terrain to your advantage to boost the power of your Psychic moves. Nor can you use Expanding Force because you're not on the terrain, so it's not doubled, nor does it hit both targets. So it's a little bit tricky to really get use out of Psychic Terrain. But until you Mega Evolve Delphox, it's very, very good at blocking sucker punches. It's very good at blocking extreme speeds. It's good at making sure that you're still dealing as much damage as possible with Psychic on Meowstic. And it's also making sure that before you Mega Evolve, Psychic is still doing a whole bunch of damage with Delphox. But this is the team. Like I said, there's a few changes I feel like I still need to make. This is just purely what happens if I sit in front of a Pokemon game with effectively unlimited resources to just build a team. This is what I came up with. I'm actually fairly happy with it. Like I said, I've been getting a few victories with it. I think I played 6 or 7 battles with this and only lost 1. So, let's go ahead and show off the team in some actual battles and see how well it does. Alrighty. They have Sand on their team. Other than that, though, I don't see a problem with leading Dragapult. It's going to do some good damage no matter what it hits, except for maybe King Gambit. Meowstic I kind of want to lead just because I like having Psychic Terrain up on the field to prevent any Fake Outs or Sucker Punches. The thing is, though, I don't really know if I want to lead Meowstic. But having Meowstic, Delphox in the back for sure is going to be useful. The question is, what is my 4th Pokemon that I want to bring? They have a lot of Dark types I can hit with my, Psychic type moves. So maybe Sneasler? Unfortunately, though, I don't really think that bringing Meowstic in the lead is going to be the best option, so I just decided to move it all the way to the back. I'm pretty happy with this. Can't really do too much with Meganium, sadly. And I don't think Toxapex is going to be able to really do enough. Giddy Old Man versus the Great Trainer. And they lead Tyranitar Como. At this point, there's not really too much stopping me from going for Outrage, because no matter what it hits, it's going to do a lot of pretty good damage. The thing is, Sneasler doesn't have Fake Out, so it's like I wouldn't mind going for a Fake Out, but I don't really have a use for Fake Out on this team, per se. Not on Sneasler in a way. I get more use out of Throat Chop in a way. But the thing is, I can't really do anything except for close combat, and the correct kind of swap or protect would actually kind of ruin me, so I feel like with Sneasler it's probably best just to protect. Because I also want to see what it is exactly that they're going to do. I get ready for close combat, but yeah, I back out and go for protect. With 1 second remaining. Dragapult goes for Outrage, and it selects the correct target. Goodbye, Como. And because I went for Protect and my Pokemon is also Scarfed, I don't realize that their Ice Punch is actually a Scarfed Ice Punch. I realize it in a bit, though. Doesn't do a whole lot of damage, thankfully, so I actually have another Outrage coming. It's actually at this point that I think that they're going to probably try to send in either Gengar or Sinistcha. I'm not sure why it takes them so long to figure it out. I believe that they actually went for Sinistcha here. But I figure that if they do go for their Ghost type, it's not going to do too much to my Sneasler. So I could probably just Throat Chop it. And sure enough, they go for the Sinistcha. So I figure a Throat Chop also covers in case I end up targeting the Tyranitar. So that way I can still get some damage on the Sinistcha. If they go for Rage Powder, then it just makes sure that Sinistcha goes down. Pretty much covers me no matter what. Like, the only option is Rage Powder and then obviously the Ice Punch. Or they swap. They don't swap. I can do about 60 to Sinistcha without Rage. And Ice Punch does take out Dragapult, but I also have my Throat Chop waiting. And I can easily take care of a Sinistcha. Goodbye. So I've kind of just ignored Tyranitar. It's just sitting here, existing. The thing is, I really wanted to send in Phox because, you know, they're going for Ice Punch. But that's also what I was afraid of. I wanted to make sure that I can stop any kind of Sucker Punches. And if they are going to go for Kowtow, I am sashed, so... I'm hoping that they don't go for a Kowtow, because that... I think with the with Kowtow and Sandship, I would just lose Meowstic, but I would get Psychic Terrain up, so that's neat, I guess. Tyranitar isn't really doing anything, it's permanently stuck using Ice Punch for forever. King Gambit is the only thing that I actually consider threatening. And then switching to Phox here, just so that way I can have it on the field ready to go. I figured they wouldn't Kowtow Cleave into a fighting type Pokemon, so I kind of figured this was going to be a safe switch. And sure enough, they try to go for Sucker Punch, and it fails. Ice Punch into my Fire type. Thankfully I didn't get frozen. Sun is not up, it is sand. I could actually get frozen there. But at this point, let's just go ahead and get rid of that sand. Get the sun up. And, well, might as well try to go for Heat Wave. Pretty sure that just takes out King Gambit, and if I can get a burn on Tyranitar, that's also neat. Might as well. Not to mention getting rid of the sand is also going to get rid of the special defense increase for the rock type on the field. So Heat Wave will do a little more damage, even though it's still resisted. Here's my Sunny Day. And my Heat Wave, and it double connects. It does delete the King Gambit, and does pretty sizable chunk to Tyranitar, honestly. And I know they can't go for a Dark-type move, so... I'm fairly safe here. I can't actually do anything with Meowstic, so I just swapped just because. Kind of actually surprised that they didn't just forfeit here, because, again, they have Ice Punch. What are they going to do? They might not know, to be fair, that you cannot freeze in Harsh Sunlight. But, yeah, you can't freeze in Harsh Sunlight. Tyranitar lives at 2%. It is literally milk at this point. And Ice Punch doesn't even take out Sneasler. And they forfeit. I had to get him all the way down to 2% for it, but it's not too bad. Pretty decent fight, if I do say so myself. On to the next one. Oh boy, the tank on this team. Palfagrigus and Altaria. Hydropol's a bit tanky. Intimidate with the Tauros. Energy Out's gonna be annoying. Hawlucha is just a Hawlucha. Don't think I need to worry too much about No Guard. Maybe I do, I don't know. Thing is, they have a lot of Psychic, Fire, and Ground weaknesses. Meowstic Phox actually kind of goes pretty hard here. The question, though, is do I want to lead with it or do I want to clean up with it? Don't think I actually want to lead. The thing is, Sneasler actually does pretty decently here, too. Throat Chop does pretty decently. Dire Claw actually takes care of a few Pokemon. Close Combat isn't going to do too much, but the rest of its moves are decent. Also, Meganium also has a bit of ground coverage as well, so it can do some decent damage. Weather Ball, if I Mega Evolve it, would do pretty decently. Can't really get too much use, I don't think, out of having a super fast Pokemon like Dragapult with Choice Scarf if they're going to actually try to set up Trick Room. Toxapex would be decent, but its damage output isn't really there. It's mostly useless for Disruption. And disrupting can it be? Oh my god. I don't want them to set up Trick Room. I want to just delete the Cofagrigus. If I can take out Victory Bell in the process, that'd be neat too. Go for a Throat Chop on Cofagrigus, Heat Wave. Maybe I can get a burn too. Thing is, Cofagrigus is pretty tanky. So any and all help I can get would be nice. Hydrapple with Super Sweet Syrup. Don't think that really matters too much. Doesn't matter for Sneasler. I have White Herb. And now Unburdened is procced. So Sneasler will be moving before Phox. Not even half. And now I am no longer fast. And yeah, because Sun isn't up. Sadly, Cofagrigus lives literally on 1. Fortunately, though, it also doesn't hit very hard, so I can manage to live as well, but I don't think Phox is going to survive for much longer. However, we do have a Grass type on the field. And I already know that everything in the world is faster than Cofagrigus. And now only 7% Psychic would be able to take you out if you didn't protect. But sadly. Fortunately though, Hydrapple does not protect and it just dies. Yeah, Leftovers doesn't really do too much for Cofagrigus, because again, I can just double up into it on a turn after it protects and probably easily take it out. Victory Bell is an interesting Pokemon. I actually had no idea that it gets access to Sucker Punch. If I did, I wouldn't have attacked so freely and probably would have been better off swapping or protecting here, but yeah, I just had to Sucker Punch. It's fine, though. Because, honestly, Phox was just dead to any attack at that point anyway. But the stupid Victory Bell is going to be alive longer than I mean it to be. And as a Poison type, I'm a little bit concerned about sending in Meganium right away. Even though I can't Mega Evolve it, it's still weak to Poison types. Intimidate is quite annoying. I want to swap to clear that, but I also don't want to just die to like a Sludge Bomb or Poison Jab or whatever Victory Bell is going to do. Maybe Raging Bull from Tauros. I think Protect is probably the best option. And then setting up a Psychic Terrain so I can Psychic things and probably knock them out immediately. Also prevents the Sucker Punch in future. And sure enough. Stomping Tantrum into the Protect. And if you're going to go for ground type moves, that makes that pretty simple for me. I selected Thunder Wave here, thinking I could just, paralyze them and get a speed control option here. Then I back out, and then I go for Psychic, because I'm like, you know what, I could just do damage. But then I really wanted speed control, so I select Thunder Wave, and then I remember that Psychic Terrain is on the field, and I went to hit B, and I accidentally hit A instead, so I kind of threw this turn. Trying to paralyze the Pokemon on Psychic Terrain doesn't really work here. Stomping Tantrum into my Grass type, I don't take any damage. And Leaf Blade. So I'm punished a little bit. They broke my sash, got me below half. To be fair, I really shouldn't have Thunder Wave and Psychic Terrain on the same Pokemon with Prankster when I'm going to be blocking my move anyway. It's anti-synergy. But in my defense, I fat-fingered, so... I shouldn't have selected the move, but I meant to hit back and didn't actually hit back. My bad. That said, if I had gone for Psychic, it would have been great. Oh well. I wasn't punished too horribly. They go for Raging Bull into the Meowstic. Does take out the Meowstic. It's fine. It has done more than enough. And now I have a Sneasler on the field. Without an Intimidate. So at this point, I don't think there's anything stopping me from winning by just Earth Power Close Combat. I consider Protect, because I feel like they're just going to try to take out Sneasler, but I already know I outspeed the Tauros with Sneasler, so just getting damage in I think is the best option. If they go for Meganium, then Sneasler gets another attack. If they go for Sneasler, then they don't get to survive Earth Power. My defenses fall. I very much just die, get obliterated by this. But then, so does Tauros from an Earth Power. From the greatest Pokemon of all time. Goodbye. Meganium's the only thing left alive, as it should be. GG, Aiden. Mousehold Admirer. Well, they have a Sneasler. So I guess Dragapult's gonna come to this one. Milotic is a bit annoying. Because of Milotic, there's not too much I can really do with like Toxapex, because most of its disrupting is like dropping stats, and that doesn't bode well. The Dragapult is actually pretty good into a few of their Pokemon, not gonna lie. Sneasler's still decent. Then just Meowstic, Delphox. I'm kind of bringing the same Pokemon as I'm always bringing, but they're just good here. Fire is pretty decent against the Sinistcha and the Scizor. Psychic is pretty good against this Sneasler. Getting straight damage off across the board with Sneasler with fighting or Dark-type moves against Incineroar or Sinistcha also going to be pretty decent. Close Combat does a fair chunk to Milotic for it being so bulky. I think these are the best options to bring. It's also a little concerning that I selected well in advance compared to my opponents. Usually I'm running down the timer down to like the last second, but it's my opponent this time that's doing that. Also, their thing never showed up that they selected, but their time stayed at 10 seconds, so I'm not sure what that's about. It's the thing with using the original Switch, I don't get all the updates as they come across the screen. They lead Sneasler, Milotic. Everybody always leads a Sneasler. I'm not one to talk. I don't have Fake Out on mine, though. The thing is, I don't know if I want to protect or if I want to try to go for damage, because they might not actually go for a Fake Out. I mean, mine doesn't run Fake Out. So I figure if I don't get Fake Outed, I can get some decent damage off onto the Milotic. You know, if they do, what's the worst that Milotic's gonna really do? Alright, I selected in case they swapped out or they had a Focus Sash. But even still, if they go for like a Scald Burn, okay, big deal. They go for Icy Wind, I have a White Herb and it gets procced, and sure enough, Icy Wind. There's not really too much that Milotic can really do damage-wise, unless it has like Calm Mind, which I found out the hard way it doesn't get in this game. Or if like the rain is up, or it has like some sort of stat boost or something. To be fair, it has competitive as an ability, but if you don't proc that, it just sits there and then drops your speed. It might set up some coils for Hypnosis, but if you don't see that happening, then you can just safely ignore it. And out comes the Charizard. So I immediately think that this is going to be X, because they have a Milotic on the field. Don't get me wrong, Milotic has its own decencies, its own pros to having on the field and everything, but I feel like you trying to set up Sun wouldn't be a good idea with a Milotic on the field. Not to mention having a Sun for the Scizor in the back. I don't think that you're going to go for a Y, but I'm also not sure what to do here. Because I don't want to just swap and die, but I also want to reset my choice. The thing is, I'm hovering over close combat for so long, and I do actually still have it selected. This is new. The server did not receive your input, so a move was automatically chosen. It also just automatically chooses the target too, because before it would have selected the last move that I had selected on the first Pokemon. Actually, it might even be the most recent one that I attacked, to be fair. But even still, it selected Dire Cloud into the Protect. This is kind of just a nothing turn, to be fair. You do drop my speed on on Sneasler, and I don't have the White Herb to negate that. So all in all, they just did a little bit of chip, dropped my speed on Sneasler, and I took away 20% from Milotic. That it's not really too much. But I still don't want to just swap and die. I actually want them to take out one of my Pokemon. I honestly don't care which one, just take one of them out, please. I do have Sash on Meowstic, so hopefully that can protect me if they choose not to Icy Wind and double up or something. My hopes really aren't high. I protect Sneasler just in case. They go for Dragon Claw, that's obvious. I actually survived that better than I thought I would. And they don't Icy Wind, they go for Scald. So Meowstic gets to stay alive. Which gives me options. And quite honestly, I think the best option Yeah. Let's start taking care of your speed if you want to start messing with mine. And let's get Dragapult back in here. If I can get an Outrage off, regardless of what it hits, it's going to do damage. If they take out my Dragapult, so be it. It's fine. Low-key, it's kind of a sack at this point anyway. They go for the Sinistra. But it's a little too late to try to redirect. And now you have a slow Charizard. That sets up a Dragon Dance. So it's a -1 with +1 attack. That's fun. Fortunately, though, it is still effectively -1 speed, so everything I have still outspeeds it. It just can knock out anything that it wants to if it can connect. I think the Para chance now is, what, 25% chance to be stuck instead of 50? I actually don't remember what... I know it got changed, so you're more likely to attack. I still have had it fully paralyze me 3 times in a row before, so I don't feel like it really changed, but what do I know? I'm not the programmer for the game. Rage Powder from the Sinistra. I already know I can do about 60 to 70%. A little less than 60. Psychic doesn't quite take you out because I don't have Psychic Terrain, but you are fully paralyzed. Which puts me significantly ahead, actually. I'm still going for Outrage. So if they want to protect their Pokemon, yeah, they have to Rage Powder. And they have to not get stuck in Paralysis this turn. But it also means that Meowstic would most likely just end up surviving the turn again. Outrage takes out the Sinistra. And now they're just down to 2 Pokemon. I'm pretty sure, right? What do they have in the back? I know they have the Milotic. I took out the Sneasler already. Took out the Sinistra. I think I'm pretty well ahead. Yeah, 3 versus 2. They only have Charizard and Milo left. So, I mean, I got Psychic Terrain on the field. My Psychic type moves are going to be super strong. I also have Heat Wave, but I don't really think I want to go for that when I have a Pokemon that resists and a Pokemon that Quad resists. I have Scorching Sands, which should do some good damage against Charizard. But honestly, nullifying as much of the Scald damage as I can is probably the best bet. And then yeah, just trying to go for Scorching Sands into Charizard and take care of that, if not outright delete it. To be fair, this variant of Charizard is actually weirdly bulky, so it probably doesn't just take it out. But it protects anyway. Set up the Sun. Scorching Sands into Protect. And they don't go for Scald, they go for Icy Wind. They also get Voids. Not that that really matters too much. They probably would have taken it out, but it's not really doing too much here, to be fair. Drops my speed, but I am still much faster than the Charizard. Meowstic's only real option is just to go for Psychic at this point. It's boosted with the Psychic Terrain. It needs to be doing damage because it can't do anything else, literally. Terrain's already up, Sun is already up, I can't Thunder Wave. Only option is to either Psychic and die, or swap and die, and I'd rather get some damage in first. And it's respectable. Scorching Sands into the Charizard. Doesn't knock it out though. They go for Scald. And just to remind you all, it is a +1 Dragon Claw, so I just straight up die here. But I think the chip damage is well in place. Again, there's not really too much that Milotic can really do to Sneasler, other than Icy Wind. And I outspeed both these Pokemon. The thing is, Charizard can protect, but it still just Ice to Psychic. And I already know that I can deal more than plenty with close combat into Milo. So they can protect all they want, the other one just dies. I am pretty sure that at this point I just have them pinned. They're really considering it though. Charizard does protect. But it doesn't really matter though. Milotic just dies. I do get a crit, but I am pretty sure it doesn't matter. Unless they are explicitly bold, max defense, max HP, maybe. But I'm pretty sure that still will deal like 70 to 85% to Milo. Psychic is faster, close combat is faster. Either one will just knock you out. Charizard doesn't win this. Good game though. Gotta say I do like seeing Charizard X more than I like seeing Charizard Y because it's actually something different. It's not just a stronger Charizard, it's what Charizard was actually like meant to be. It's a nice refreshing change of pace. I like it. Defeated Huo GG. Get you a title. Well, with that, I'm at a 3-win streak. Not a crazy win streak. I did play after I recorded these and ended up winning a couple more times, so I think I'm actually at a 5 or 6 now. But I'm actually so pleased with this team, I think I'm going to actually just straight up enter this one into the Global Challenge and try to see how far I can go with it. If I make any changes, I'll go over them, but I do also intend to stream a little bit tomorrow as well, or I guess today by the time you see this. I want to stream with this team and try to get to Master Rank, because I'm still stuck in Ultra Ball, and I would like to not be in Ultra Ball. That would be nice. So hopefully I see you guys later in the stream. If not, feel free to check out the stream later. If anybody wants to see the details for this, here's the details. I feel like I might end up making some changes to this, just because it's good, but I feel like I can still improve it somehow. I feel like Toxapex is kind of holding it back a little bit. I really like Toxapex, but it's not too much I can really do with it, sadly. But yeah, that's all I have for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If so, feel free to drop a like or even a dislike. I promise it doesn't hurt my feelings. Hit the subscribe button and get notified for the live stream later. And some more videos like this. I also need to get back into Minecraft and Pokemon Black too, but that's going to be a little bit, sadly. I'm kind of addicted to this game. But until the stream, I hope you all take care.